Hello brothers and sisters. Today's video is going to be about the fall of Lucifer, or in other words Satan, or the devil. Okay, today's date is the 22nd of June and 2014, and it's 4:41. Now, what I said before about the 21st, 22nd, I didn't say something was definitely going to happen. I'm just saying I was putting it out there. So okay, but anyways, I mean, something still could have happened. I don't know. We live in a world of darkness. How do we really know what's going on? Okay, now, so let's go on with this fall of Lucifer. I want to start in Ezekiel chapter 28. So, yeah, give us a couple of seconds to get there. Ezekiel chapter 28. Okay, chapter 28, and we're going to start from verse 12. Mortal man, he said, grief for the fate that is waiting for the king of Tyre. Tell him what I, the sovereign Lord, am saying. You were once an example of perfection. How wise and handsome you were. You lived in Eden, the garden of God, and wore gems of every kind, rubies and diamonds, topaz, beryl, carnelian and jasper, sapphires, emeralds, and garnets. You had ornaments of gold. They were made for you on the day you were created. I put a terrifying angel there to guard you. You lived on my holy mountain and walked among sparkling gems. Your conduct was perfect from the day you were created until you began to do evil. You were busy buying and selling, and this led you to violence and sin. So I forced you to leave my holy mountain, and the angel who guarded you drove you away from the sparkling gems. You were proud of being handsome, and your fame made you act like a fool. Because of this, I hurled you to the ground and left you as a warning to other kings. You did such evil in buying and selling that your places of worship were corrupted. So I set fire to the city and burnt it to the ground. All who looked at you now see you reduced to ashes. You are gone, gone forever, and all the nations that had come to know you are terrified, afraid that they will share your fate. Okay, now that was the creation, basically, a little bit about the creation of Lucifer. So he was created, a long time ago, before man was created. Now I'm going to go to Revelation chapter 12, verse 7, which is the war in heaven. Chapter 12, verse 7, Revelation. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, who fought back with his angels. But the dragon was defeated, and he and his angels were not allowed to stay in heaven any longer. The huge dragon was thrown out, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, that deceived the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and all his angels with him. Okay, now I'm going to go to Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12, which I've done in a previous video, which is the fall of Satan. Okay, Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. King of Babylonia, bright morning star, you have fallen from heaven. In the past you conquered nations, but now you have been thrown to the ground. You were determined to climb up to heaven and to place your throne above the highest stars. You thought you would sit like a king on that mountain in the north where the gods assembled. You said you would climb to the tops of the clouds and be like the Almighty. But instead you have been brought down to the deepest part of the world of the dead. Okay, so Satan was cast down with his angels. Now, I just wanted to show that this was before the beginning of the creation of Adam and Eve. Now let's go to Genesis 3, chapter 3, verse 1. Okay. So, same, you guys can read your Bible, go through it and have your own read at the same time. Chapter 3, verse 1. Now the snake was the most cunning animal that the Lord God had made. The snake asked the woman, "Did God really tell you not to eat fruit from any tree in the garden?" "We may eat the fruit of any tree in the garden," the woman answered, "except the tree in the middle of it, God told us not to eat the fruit of that tree or even touch it. If we do, we will die." The snake replied, "That's not true. You will not die. God said that because he knows that when you eat it, you will be like God and know what is good and what is bad." Okay, so Satan deceives Eve, right? So we can already tell that Satan's on the earth. Okay, and this is before Adam and Eve were created. So Satan was cast down from heaven a long time ago. Now I'm going to go to Job, because in Job is a man who is dedicated to God, and Satan tries to do everything he can to make Job's life a misery. Now I'm just going to read a few verses, and I'm going to start from Job chapter 1 verse 6. And when the day came for the heavenly beings to appear before the Lord, Satan was among them. The Lord asked him, "What have you been doing?" Satan answered, "I have been walking here and there, roaming around the earth." Roaming around the earth. Okay, now I'm going to move on to 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8, where it says the same thing. So, I mean, what's in the New Testament is the Old Testament revealed, and what's in the Old Testament is the New Testament concealed. So, I mean, we just need to read the whole book, basically, people. Okay, so where was I going? First Peter, hang on. Is it First Peter? Sorry. First Peter chapter 5 verse 8. Be alert, be on the watch. Your enemy, the devil, roams round like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Be firm in your faith and resist him, because you know that your fellow believers in all the world are going through the same kind of sufferings. Okay, now we're going to go back to Genesis, and we're going to see that the angels that were cast out of heaven with Satan, they fell. So, okay, Genesis chapter 6 verse 1. Chapter 6 and verse 1. When mankind had spread all over the world and girls were being born, some of the supernatural beings saw that these girls were beautiful, so they took the ones they liked. Then the Lord said, "I will not allow people to live forever. They are mortal. From now on they will live no longer than 120 years. In those days, and even later, there were giants on the earth, who were descendants of human women and the supernatural beings. They were the great heroes and famous men of long ago." Okay, when the Lord saw how wicked everyone on earth was, and how evil their thoughts were all the time, he was sorry that he had ever made them and put them on the earth. He was so filled with regret that he said, "I will wipe out these people I have created, and also the animals and the birds, because I am sorry that I made any of them." Okay, now we're going to move on to Jude chapter 1 verse 6, which talks about the fallen angels. Okay, Jude chapter 1 verse 6. "Remember the angels who did not stay within the limits of their proper authority, but abandoned their own dwelling place. They are bound with eternal chains in the darkness below, where God is keeping them for that great day on which they will be condemned." The day of the the day of the harvest. Okay, from Jude we're going to go to Ephesians 6:12, which a lot of people will probably know this one. You know, "For we not fight against human beings, but against spirits and princes of principalities." I'll actually find the chapter and read it. Sounds better if I read it. Okay, Ephesians 6:12. "For we are not fighting against human beings, but against the wicked spiritual forces in the heavenly world, the rulers, authorities, and cosmic powers of this dark age." Okay, now I'm going to move on to 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 14, and I want to talk about Satan who can deceive people. Now 11 verse 14, well, no wonder, even Satan can disguise himself to look like an angel of light. Okay, now I'm going to go back to Ephesians and it's Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 1. In the past you were spiritually dead because of your disobedience and sins. At that time you followed the world's evil way. You obeyed the ruler of the spiritual powers in space, the spirit who now controls the people who disobey God. Actually, all of us were like them and lived according to our natural desires, doing whatever suited the wishes of our own bodies and minds. In our natural condition, we, like everyone else, were destined to suffer God's anger. So that tells us that we've gone from death to life if we believe in Jesus Christ. Okay, now I'm going to tell you about false teachers. Now this is 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Okay, my dear friends, do not believe all who claim to have the Spirit, but test them to find out if the Spirit they have comes from God. For many false prophets have gone out everywhere. This is how you will be able to know whether it is God's Spirit. Anyone who acknowledges that Jesus Christ came as a human being has the Spirit who comes from God and has the Spirit that comes from God. But anyone who denies this about Jesus does not have the Spirit from God. The Spirit that he has is from the enemy of Christ. You heard that it would come, and now it is here in the world already. But you belong to God, my children, and have defeated the false prophets, because the Spirit is in you, who is in you is more powerful than the Spirit in those who belong to the world. Those false prophets speak about matters of the world, and the world listens to them, because they belong to the world. But we belong to God. Whoever knows God listens to us. Whoever does not belong to God does not listen to us. This, then, is how we can tell the difference between the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. Okay, guys, now I've already told you who Satan is, and he's Obama. Okay, now everything is there. I mean, look at it for yourself. I've told you previous things. I'm going to point out a few more things that I didn't mention. The Democrats, Republicans, whatever you like to call them. I'm from Australia. I don't know Americans too much. But the Republicans changed their symbol on their, picture sort of thing. They changed it to a donkey and a rising sun. Now, the donkey represents the Messiah riding in the donkey to Jerusalem. Okay, and the rising sun represents the sun rising where it actually sets, which represents the coming of the Antichrist, the Al-Mahdi, which is Prince William. Okay, now Prince William, mother is Diana. Diana is Isis, which means mother goddess. Okay, do some research into this, people. Read the Book of Enoch. Listen to Jonathan Kleck. Watch his YouTube videos, Jonathan Kleck, The Kingdom Divided. Listen to Tribulation Now.